Man, you ever seen one of those small American towns that look like they're frozen in time? Yeah, that's Maple Creek. Quiet streets, folks who wave when they drive by, and summer days that smell like fresh-cut grass and barbecue smoke. That's where Ethan Miller, a 17-year-old kid with a messy head of brown hair, lived with his kid sister Sophie, who was 13 but had the sass of someone twice her age. They weren't rich or anything, just regular folks. Their dad worked double shifts at the auto shop, and their mom ran a tiny bakery down the street. But what they had, man, it was love. Pure old-school love. Every morning, Ethan would grab his skateboard, yell, "Yo, Soph, move it or lose it." And she'd roll her eyes. "You're such a dork, Ethan." But she'd still tag along, walking beside him to school. Ethan acted like he didn't care, like big brothers do, but deep down, he'd always slow down his steps just enough for Sophie to keep up. A couple years later, things changed. Their dad got sick real bad. The Millers had to sell their house and move to Chicago, where their mom's sister lived. The city was a whole different vibe, loud, busy, nobody cared about nobody. Ethan started college there, doing night classes and working part-time at a diner. Sophie started high school, and man, she had it rough. City kids could be mean, real mean. One day, she came home, tears smudging her mascara. Ethan saw her, dropped his backpack, and was like, "Yo, who did this? Who made you cry?" She tried to shrug it off. "It's nothing, just kids being kids." But he wasn't buying it. He grabbed his jacket and said, "Nah, that ain't gonna fly. Nobody messes with my little sis." She ran after him, hugging him tight before he reached the door. "Ethan, please don't. Just stay with me." He froze. The anger melted off his face. He realized what she needed wasn't revenge, it was comfort. So he sat down, pulled her close, and said, "Okay, kiddo, we're gonna get through this together. Like always." Now, here's the thing about kindness. It doesn't need a stage. Sometimes it's just the small stuff. Sophie started volunteering at a local animal shelter, and Ethan helped her every weekend. He didn't tell anyone about it, but he'd sneak in and fix the fences, repaint kennels, and buy dog food out of his paycheck. When people noticed, they thought he was just being a nice guy, but Sophie knew he did it for her, and she paid it forward, too. When Ethan flunked a class because he was too tired from working late, she stayed up nights making flashcards, quizzing him until he nailed the next exam. They didn't talk much about it. They didn't have to. Their kindness spoke louder than any words. One rainy night, Sophie looked up from her notebook and said, "You ever think we'll get out of here, Ethan?" He smiled, wiping grease from his hands. "Oh, we will. Just gotta keep hustling. Dreams don't chase themselves. You know." She grinned. "You sound like Mum," he chuckled. Yeah, guess I picked up her vibe. Years later, Sophie got into a big university in New York. Ethan drove her there 10 hours straight, country roads, to city lights. He carried her boxes up 4 flights of stairs, no elevator, no complaints. When it was time to leave, Sophie hugged him tight. "You're gonna miss me, huh?" he smirked. Yeah, sure. Who else is gonna eat all the cereal and leave the milk empty? She laughed through tears. You jerk, he smiled. Nah, just your big brother. He turned to leave, but Sophie called out, Ethan. He looked back. She said softly, thanks for never giving up on me. And that hit him right in the chest. He just nodded, trying not to tear up. Always, kiddo, always. As he drove away, the skyline faded in his rearview mirror, and a soft smile lingered on his face, because even though life had thrown them curveballs, they had something stronger than luck, kindness that never quit. See, life ain't about fancy houses or big paychecks. It's about the little things, a brother waiting up late, a sister writing notes of encouragement, a shared laugh over burnt pancakes, kindness. That's the real legacy. And for Ethan and Sophie Miller, that was enough.